Hi, my name is Clint Francis. I'm a business coach. I specify in sales and mindset. Today, I want to talk about sending a customer to your competitor or your prospect to your competitor. I had this happen early on in my luxury sales career. And I'm going to tell it to you in a story form, and you can kind of get what I'm talking about. For me, it's more important to serve the client than to just get what I want, because I want a long-term relationship with the client. So it's the sacrifice you make at times to make that happen. So I was in my first sales job, which was a jewelry store in Hawaii. And I had a gentleman come in, he was in his 60s, and we built some rapport by talking about what he was doing, visiting the islands, what he'd seen, what he'd done. And we weren't really talking about jewelry at that point. So we built some nice rapport over maybe 15 or 20 minutes of having a conversation that was non-jewelry related. And so I asked him what he was doing in the store, what he was looking for. And he said he always wanted to buy a Rolex since he was in his 20s. And now he'd finally been successful enough in his mind, in his probably early to mid 60s, that it was okay for him to buy a Rolex, and he'd already made the decision to do it. And it seemed like since we built some rapport and he felt like he could trust me and he knew me to some degree, he was ready to make that purchase. So I asked him which one he liked, and he knew specifically the Rolex that he wanted. It was a two-tone Submariner, I believe, if I could remember. It was quite a long time ago. And he wanted a certain dial on it. And I had a two-tone Submariner, but it wasn't the exact one he wanted. So I informed him I could ship it to him. And at the time, it's probably still this way, I could ship it to him to another state, which I wouldn't have to charge him the sales tax, which was pretty low at the time. Maybe it was 4%. I don't know what it is now in that state. So I said, I can ship it to you. You won't have to pay the sales tax. I can send it second day air whenever you want to get it. And he said to me, Clint, I've wanted this watch a long time, and I want to wear it off the island. I want to physically buy it here in Hawaii and wear it off the island on the plane home to Texas. He was from Texas. So I listened to that and I took that in. Now, the salesman in me wanted to find a way around that, to not give him what he wanted, but to get what I wanted. It's kind of like when you have an angel on this shoulder and the devil on this shoulder, so to speak. And so I clarified that I heard what he said, that he's not interested in getting it shipped to him, but he would like to wear this specific Rolex watch that he wanted off the island. And I knew that was the right thing to do, was to try to help him get that Rolex, of which I did not have in my store. And I didn't have it in any of the other stores in Hawaii. I checked them all. I called to see if I could have it shipped over, and they do a next day shipping to the island I was on via FedEx. And we didn't have that particular two-tone Submariner in stock. So I did everything I could to get it to him, which he would have been fine with the next day, but I couldn't do it. So what I did is I sent him to my competitor, who was about 100 yards away from me. I knew he had this watch because I was in the store a couple days previously and I saw it. So I told my prospect in my store, hey, since what you really want is to wear this watch off the island, and he was very adamant. He knew what he wanted. He wasn't being wishy-washy. He wasn't being insecure. He was a grown man, a successful businessman who knew exactly what he wanted. So what I'd been reading up to that time about how to serve wealthy people in the luxury business, the luxury sales business, was to give them what they want. So I sent him to my competitor, told him to say that I sent him. So then this guy I knew who worked over there, I told him, talk to Bill, tell him Clint sent you, and I'll give him a call and tell him you're coming over. So I called Bill and I said, hey, I'm sending you one of my customers over there because he wants this watch today. I can't get it for him, so I'm going to send him to you. So he was pretty surprised. So the guy went over there and bought the watch. I'd assumed. He left, said thank you, and I was assuming he was going over to buy that watch. So a couple days later, he comes into the store. I happen to be working, and he has that watch on his wrist. And he's showing it to me going, man, I'm so happy. This is the watch I've wanted for a long time. I finally had it. I'm so grateful for you to help me make that happen. But what was interesting is this time he didn't come alone. He came with his wife. And he said to me, my wife wants a Rolex too, but she doesn't have to wear it off the island. You can ship it to her. So he ended up ordering a Rolex for his wife from me that was even more money than the one that he purchased from my competitor. That was mind-blowing to me. And I think they bought, I can't remember how many pieces, but a couple of pieces of jewelry on top of the order for the Rolex, which was special ordered, and she didn't care when she got it. So the reason I'm telling this story is because you really get what you give. So if you really want to help your customer and you can't get them exactly what they want, and they're not wishy-washy, and they really are not interested in being influenced, but they just really want what they want, the way they want it. And you'll find if you ever work with wealthy prospects and wealthy clients, they're used to and accustomed to getting what they want. So I gave this guy what he wanted, wearing the Rolex off the island, not getting it shipped. I couldn't get it from my company and we had 7 stores on the island. And it was cool because he brought her in and they did an even bigger order because he felt a sense of reciprocity towards me. And he ended up being a customer for a couple of years, or about a year, I should say, when I worked there because I ended up leaving the company and coming back to the mainland, the United States, the main lower 48 as they call it. So I want you to think about that. If you're always trying to close, if you're always trying to get what you want, if you're always trying to just get a sale, I mean, it's good to be persistent and tenacious and to keep working with your client until you get to a yes or a no. And if you're at a maybe, to keep emailing and to keep calling and to keep pursuing in a friendly, persistent way. But sometimes they just want what they want. And I gave him what he wanted, and then I ended up getting a bigger sale. That's huge. Now, you may not trust that. You may think, well, you were lucky. No, it's the law of the universe. If you give, you shall receive. It's in all different types of religions. Whether you believe in that or not, it doesn't even matter. It's just the way it is. If you go around being angry with people all day, they're probably going to be angry with you. If you go around cutting people off in traffic, they're probably going to cut you off eventually. Now, the exception to this story that is kind of not always the case is it doesn't always come back to you from the same source. So this guy came back and made a larger purchase with me, and it came from him. But also when you do this for people, I could have got another sale from somebody completely different as a way of getting back what I gave. So basically, if you are in sales, if you have a business, if you're a commission sales person and you want to sell with more integrity, or you have a blind spot in your process and you're not really sure, maybe your sales have fallen off in the past couple of months, or you just want to improve and become a better salesperson. If you'd like to do that, you can contact me below in the description. My email will be down there. And you can also follow me on Twitter. I would encourage you to like and subscribe this video if you got value out of it. And I'm going to be posting videos on and on, so you can always be learning different things. So thanks a lot for listening, and I hope you got value out of this, and have a great day. Take care.